The first time Min-Jae kissed me, I tasted blood on his lips. Not mine. Someone else's. I was pressed against the wall of his penthouse hallway, his body blocking any escape. Rain hammered against the windows behind us. Seoul glittered below like 1,000 watching eyes. "Tell me to stop," he whispered against my mouth. But I didn't. God help me, I didn't. His hand slid to the back of my neck, fingers tangling in my hair. The other hand pressed against the wall beside my head. Trapping me. Claiming me. "You saw what I did tonight," he said, his forehead touching mine. "You should be running. You should be terrified." I was terrified. My whole body was shaking. But I wasn't running. "Why aren't you running, Chioma?" His voice was rough. Desperate. I looked into his eyes. This man who'd just made someone disappear. This man who ruled Seoul's underworld. This man who looked at me like I was the only thing that mattered. "I don't know," I whispered. And then he kissed me like he was drowning and I was air. "My name is Chioma." This is the story of how a Nigerian maid became the obsession of Korea's most dangerous man. How I witnessed his darkest moment and instead of running, I stayed. Stay with me. Because what happened next changed everything. But how does a woman with nothing catch the eye of a man who has everything? Why would Seoul's most powerful crime boss risk his empire for a foreigner? And what secret from my past would nearly destroy us both? By the end of this story, you'll know that sometimes the most dangerous thing you can do is fall in love. Because nothing here is what it seems. I grew up in Lagos, Nigeria. The youngest of 6 children. My father sold phone chargers on the street corner. My mother braided hair in our tiny apartment for $2 a day. We had love. We had laughter. But love doesn't pay rent. When I was 22, a woman named Grace came to our church. She wore expensive clothes and spoke perfect English. She said she ran an agency that placed Nigerian nurses in South Korean hospitals. Good money. Legal papers. A real future. My mother's eyes lit up when Grace talked about the salary. We could pay off our debts. Send my brothers to school. Maybe even buy a small house. "Chioma," my mother whispered that night, gripping my hands. "This is your chance. Save yourself. Then save us." So I went. I arrived at Incheon Airport with $200, a suitcase full of hope, and papers that promised me a nursing position at Seoul National Hospital. Grace met me at arrivals with a smile. "Welcome to Korea, Chioma. Your new life starts now." It did. Just not the way I imagined. 2 days later, Grace disappeared. The hospital had no record of me. The visa she'd arranged expired in 60 days. And I was alone in a country where I couldn't read the signs, couldn't speak the language, and nobody looked like me. I found out later that Grace ran a scheme. She charged desperate families thousands of dollars for fake job placements. By the time we realized we'd been scammed, she was already recruiting her next victims. I couldn't go home. I'd already sent my family the first paycheck Grace had given me as part of the scam, money I'd have to pay back somehow. If I returned to Lagos empty-handed, we'd lose everything. So I became invisible. I found work through other Nigerian women who'd been trapped the same way. Cleaning jobs. Cash payments. No questions asked. I scrubbed toilets in office buildings. Polished floors in luxury apartments. Washed windows in penthouses worth more than my entire neighborhood back home. 16-hour days. 7 days a week. Everyone I earned went into an envelope I sent home monthly. My mother thought I was a nurse. My siblings thought I was living the dream. I was surviving. Barely. For 8 months, I was a ghost in Seoul. And then I started cleaning his apartment. The agency sent me to Gangnam, Seoul's wealthiest district. Luxury high-rise. 42nd floor. Penthouse apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Han River. The other cleaners warned me about the owner. "Don't look at him. Don't speak unless spoken to. Finish fast and leave." "Why?" I asked. The older woman, Mrs. Kim, lowered her voice. "Because he's dangerous. Park Min-Jae. You don't know this name." I didn't. Not then. "He's Biko," she said, like that explained everything. I learned later what Biko meant. White Tiger. One of Seoul's most powerful organized crime families. Min-Jae had inherited control at 19 after his father was murdered. By 28, he'd eliminated every rival and expanded the family's influence into legitimate businesses, real estate, nightclubs, private security. To the outside world, he was a successful businessman. Behind closed doors, he controlled half of Seoul's underground economy. But that first day, I just knew he was rich. I cleaned his penthouse every Tuesday and Friday morning. He was never home. I'd let myself in with the key code, clean for 3 hours, and leave before he returned. Italian marble floors. Minimalist furniture that probably cost more than a car. Art on the walls that I later learned were originals. A bedroom with a bed so large it could fit my entire family. Everything was cold. Perfect. Empty. Like nobody actually lived there. For 3 months, I never saw him. And then one Friday, everything changed. I arrived at my usual time, 8 a.m. The apartment was dark. I assumed he was still sleeping, so I started in the kitchen, trying to be quiet. I was on my hands and knees scrubbing the floor when I heard footsteps behind me. I turned. He stood in the doorway. Barefoot. Black pants. White shirt unbuttoned at the collar. Dark hair slightly messy. And eyes that looked right through me. For 3 months, I'd been invisible in his home. But in that moment, standing there with a scrub brush in my hand and my heart pounding, I felt completely, terrifyingly seen. "You're early," he said in Korean. I understood enough to nod. "I'm sorry. I can come back." "No." He walked past me to the coffee maker. "Continue." I went back to scrubbing, but I felt his eyes on me. Watching. Studying. After a few minutes of unbearable silence, he spoke again. "What's your name?" I looked up surprised. "Chioma. That's not Korean." "No, sir. I'm from Nigeria." He took a sip of his coffee, still watching me with those dark, unreadable eyes. "How long have you been cleaning my apartment?" 3 months, sir. "And this is the first time I've seen you." It wasn't a question, but I nodded anyway. Something shifted in his expression. Not quite a smile. Just interest. "You work hard," he said. "I have to, sir." "Why?" The question caught me off guard. Nobody had asked me why about anything in months. "I have a family back home. They depend on me." He nodded slowly, like he understood something I hadn't said out loud. Then he did something that changed everything. He pulled out his wallet, took out several bills, and placed them on the counter. "For you," he said. "Not the agency. You." It was more money than I made in a week. "Sir, I can't." "You can." His voice was firm but not harsh. "You're here every week. You make my home less empty. Take it." Our eyes met. And for just a second, I saw something behind the cold exterior. Loneliness, maybe. Or recognition. Like he saw in me what I saw in him. 2 people surviving in a city that didn't want them. I took the money. "Thank you, sir." Min-Jae, he corrected. "Call me Min-Jae." After that day, he was always there when I came to clean. Not watching me work. Just present. Reading. Working on his laptop. Making coffee. And slowly, we started talking. It started with small things. He'd ask about Nigeria. I'd tell him about Lagos, the noise, the traffic, the vibrant chaos of it all. He told me about growing up in Seoul. About his father's expectations. About learning young that power is the only thing that keeps you safe. "Do you miss home?" he asked one morning. "Every day," I admitted. "But I can't go back." "Not yet." "Why not?" I hesitated. Then I told him a version of the truth. "Because I haven't earned the right to go back yet. I came here to save my family. Until I do that, I can't face them." He looked at me for a long moment. "You're brave, Chioma from Nigeria." I laughed. "I'm not brave. I'm just surviving." "That's the same thing," he said quietly. Over the next few weeks, something shifted between us. The way he looked at me changed. The way I felt when I was near him changed. He started teaching me Korean. Real Korean, not just the basic phrases I'd picked up. We'd sit at his dining table, me with a notebook, him correcting my pronunciation. His fingers would brush mine when he pointed at words. Every accidental touch felt like electricity. One morning, he asked me to stay for coffee after I finished cleaning. "I shouldn't," I said, even though I wanted to. "Why not?" "Because I struggled to find the words. Because you're you. And I'm just. Don't. His voice was sharp. Don't do that. Don't make yourself small. He stood and walked over to where I was standing by the window. Close. Too close. Do you know what I see when I look at you? He asked softly. I shook my head, not trusting my voice. I see someone who crossed an ocean alone. Who works 16-hour days without complaining. Who sends every dollar home to take care of people she may never see again. I see someone stronger than most of the men in my organization. His hand came up, fingers gently tucking a strand of hair behind my ear. You're not just anything, Chioma. Do you understand? I nodded, my breath caught in my throat. Say it, he whispered. I understand. Good. But he didn't move away. Neither did I. We stood there, inches apart, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. I should go, I whispered. You should, he agreed. But his hand slid to my waist. Gentle. Giving me every chance to pull away. I didn't. This is a bad idea, I said, even as I leaned closer. The worst, he agreed, his thumb tracing circles on my hip. You're dangerous. Very. I should be terrified of you. His forehead touched mine. Are you? Yes, I breathed. But not the way you think. And then, right there in his living room with Seoul spread out below us, he kissed me. It wasn't rough or demanding. It was slow. Deliberate. Like he was memorizing the taste of me. When we finally pulled apart, we were both shaking. I can't offer you normal, he said, his voice rough. I can't offer you safe. My world is dark, Chioma. Once you're in it, there's no easy way out. I looked into his eyes. This man who killed people. This man who ruled through fear. This man who looked at me like I was precious. Then don't offer me normal, I whispered back. Just offer me the truth. His grip on my waist tightened. The truth is I haven't been able to stop thinking about you for weeks. The truth is having you in my home is the only time I feel like I can breathe. The truth is I'm going to keep you, Chioma. If you let me. Keep me? I should have been offended. Should have pulled away. But I wasn't. And I didn't. Yes. His thumb traced my bottom lip. Make you mine. Protect you. Give you everything you've ever wanted and things you haven't even dreamed of yet. And what do you get? I asked. He smiled. A real smile. Rare and beautiful. You, he said simply. I get you. But I had a secret. One I hadn't told anyone since leaving Lagos. The real reason I couldn't go home. That night, lying in my tiny apartment, Min-Jae's kiss still burning on my lips, the memories came flooding back. His name was Emeka. We dated for 2 years in Lagos. At first, he was everything, charming, generous, protective. He paid for my mother's medications. Helped my brothers find work. My family loved him. Then slowly, the charm turned to control. He didn't like me going out with friends. Didn't like me wearing certain clothes. Didn't like me talking to other men, even my own brothers. The first time he hit me, I was 21. He'd seen me laughing with a male coworker at a restaurant. When we got back to his apartment, he slapped me across the face. Then he cried. Apologized. Swore it would never happen again. It happened again. And again. I tried to leave. He found me at my mother's house. Dragged me out in front of my family. They begged me to just talk it out with him. I went to the police. They laughed. He's your boyfriend. This is between you two. The final time, he locked me in his apartment for 3 days. No phone. No way out. He said if I ever tried to leave again, he'd kill me. And I believed him. When he finally left for work, I ran. I wanted the one person I thought could help, Grace from church. The woman who'd been promising girls jobs in Korea. I need to disappear, I told her. I'll pay anything. She looked at me at the bruises I was trying to hide and nodded. I can make you disappear, she said. But it won't be legal. And you can never come back. I don't want to come back. So Grace got me a fake passport. A fake nursing certificate. A fake identity. She charged me money I didn't have, money I'd have to work off once I got to Korea. It was a scam. But it was also my escape. I left Lagos thinking Emeka would forget about me. That I'd be safe on the other side of the world. For 8 months I was. And then, one morning after spending the night at Min-Jae's penthouse, I checked my email and saw a message from an address I didn't recognize. The subject line made my blood run cold. Found you, Chioma. I opened it with shaking hands. The message was short. Seoul looks beautiful. I always said I'd find you. See you soon. Attached was a photo of me leaving Min-Jae's building just that morning. I ran to the bathroom and vomited. Emeka had found me. I should have told Min-Jae immediately. But I was terrified. Not of Emeka. Of losing Min-Jae. Because I wasn't who he thought I was. My name wasn't even real. My papers were fake. My entire identity in Korea was a lie. What if he saw me differently? What if he couldn't trust me anymore? What if he sent me away? So I stayed silent. I deleted the email. Changed my passwords. Told myself maybe it was just Emeka trying to scare me from across the world. But 3 days later, I got another email. This time with a photo of Min-Jae getting into his car outside one of his clubs. The message, nice boyfriend. Does he know about us? My hands shook so badly I dropped my phone. Emeka wasn't just watching me. He was watching Min-Jae. That night, Min-Jae noticed something was wrong. We were having dinner at his penthouse, something we'd started doing regularly. He'd cook or order in, and we'd talk for hours. But that night, I could barely eat. What's wrong? He asked, setting down his chopsticks. Nothing. I'm just tired. He reached across the table and took my hand. Don't lie to me, Chioma. I can see it in your eyes. Something's bothering you. I wanted to tell him. God, I wanted to tell him everything. But instead, I said, I'm just worried about my visa. It expires soon. It wasn't entirely a lie. My visa had expired months ago. His expression darkened. Why didn't you tell me this before? I didn't want to burden you. Burden me? He stood, pulling me up with him. Chioma, look at me. I looked up into his eyes. You're not a burden. You're mine. That means your problems are my problems. Do you understand? I nodded, tears stinging my eyes. I'll handle your visa, he said firmly. I have people. Lawyers. You'll be legal within a month. I promise. He pulled me into his arms, and I buried my face in his chest. Thank you, I whispered. But even as he held me, even as he promised to protect me, I knew the truth. The visa wasn't my real problem. Emeka was. And he was coming. Despite my fear, I fell deeper in love with Min-Jae every day. He was nothing like Emeka. Nothing like any man I'd ever known. Yes, he was dangerous. Yes, he operated in a world of shadows and violence. But with me, he was gentle, patient, protective in a way that felt like safety, not control. He never raised his voice. Never made me feel small. Never made me afraid. One night, about a month after we'd started seeing each other, he took me to a private rooftop garden he owned. Overlooking the city, fairy lights strung between trees, a table set for two. What's all this? I asked, stunned. I wanted to do something normal, he said, pulling out my chair. Take you on a real date. Not just dinners in my apartment. We ate. We laughed. We talked about everything and nothing. And then, as we stood by the railing watching Seoul's lights twinkle below, he turned to me. I need to tell you something, he said seriously. My heart jumped. Okay. My world, it's not kind. The people in it are not kind. And being with me means you'll be part of that world. There will be people who don't understand why I chose you. People who will see you as a weakness. I started to speak, but he continued. I've already had members of my organization question me. Ask why I'm spending time with a foreign woman. Some have suggested I'm being reckless. Maybe they're right, I said quietly. They're not. His voice was fierce. You're not a weakness, Chioma. You're my strength. But I need you to understand what you're getting into if you stay with me. And if I can't handle it? I asked. His jaw tightened. Then I'll let you go. I'll make sure you're taken care of: visa, money, protection. But I won't keep you in a life that makes you unhappy. I looked at this man. This powerful, dangerous, impossible man who was offering me an escape route. What if I don't want an escape route? I whispered. His eyes searched mine. Then say it. Say you're choosing this. Choosing me. All of it. I took a deep breath. I choose you, Min-Jae. All of it. He kissed me then. Deep and desperate and full of promise. When we pulled apart, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. My breath caught. This isn't a proposal, he said quickly. Not yet. But I want you to have this. He opened the box. Inside was a delicate gold necklace with a small pendant, a white tiger. Biko, I whispered. Yes. He took it out and fastened it around my neck. This tells anyone who knows what to look for that you're under my protection. That you're mine. His fingers lingered on my collarbone. No one will touch you, he said softly. No one will threaten you. Not while I'm alive. I touched the pendant, feeling its weight. I love you, I said. The first time I'd said it out loud. His eyes closed briefly, like the words physically impacted him. When he opened them again, they were blazing. I love you, Chioma. More than I thought I could love anyone. We made love that night under the stars, on the rooftop overlooking Seoul. It was beautiful. It was perfect. And I still didn't tell him about Emeka. 2 weeks later, I missed my period. I took 3 pregnancy tests in the bathroom of a convenience store. All positive. I sat on that bathroom floor and cried. Not because I didn't want the baby, but because I knew what this meant. I was carrying the heir to the Biko clan. Min-Jae's child. There was no walking away now. No matter what happened with Emeka. When I told Min-Jae, we were in his bedroom. Morning light streaming through the windows. I need to tell you something, I said, my voice shaking. He sat up immediately, alert. What's wrong? I'm pregnant. Silence. Complete, heavy silence. Then he grabbed my face in both hands. Say it again. I'm pregnant, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. He kissed me. Hard. Then pulled back and pressed his forehead to mine. We're having a baby, he said, his voice rough with emotion. Are you happy? I asked nervously. He laughed. Actually laughed. Happy? Chioma, I'm terrified. I'm overwhelmed. And I'm happier than I've ever been in my entire life. He pulled me into his lap, his hand splaying across my still flat stomach. We need to get married, he said. Min-Jae, I'm serious. I want you as my wife before this baby is born. I want you protected. Legally, officially mine. Your organization won't accept it, I said. You said yourself they already question. I don't care what they accept, he interrupted firmly. You're carrying my child. That makes you family. And no one questions family. His hand tightened on my waist. Marry me, Chioma. Not because of the baby. Because I can't imagine my life without you in it. I looked into his eyes. This man who'd become my whole world. Yes, I whispered. I'll marry you. We married 3 weeks later in a small, private ceremony. No guests from his organization. No family from mine. I couldn't risk anyone finding out where I was. Just Min-Jae and me, a officiant, and 2 of his most trusted men as witnesses. I wore a simple white dress he'd bought me. He wore black. Always black. The ceremony was in Korean. I understood enough to know I was promising him forever. When he slipped the ring on my finger, a massive diamond that felt heavy and cold, I felt the weight of what I was becoming. Not just his wife. The wife of the Biko clan's leader. You are my queen now, he said in Korean, then repeated in English. And I will protect you and our child with everything I am. I believed him. After the ceremony, we went back to his penthouse. Our penthouse now. We just finished our first meal as husband and wife when my phone buzzed. I almost ignored it. But something made me look. An email. From Emeka. Congratulations on the wedding, Mrs. Park. Didn't even invite me? I'm hurt. Don't worry. I'll be seeing you soon. Attached was a photo. From our wedding. Taken from outside the building. Through the window. He'd been there. Watching us. My hands started shaking so badly I dropped the phone. Chioma. Min-Jae was at my side immediately. What's wrong? I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. He picked up my phone. Read the email. His entire body went rigid. Who is Emeka? His voice was deadly calm. The kind of calm that preceded violence. And I knew. In that moment, I knew I had to tell him everything. So I did. I told him about Lagos. About Emeka. About the abuse, the escape, the fake passport. About the emails. About the photos. About how I'd been too afraid to tell him. When I finished, Min-Jae was silent for a long moment. Then he pulled me into his arms. I'm sorry, I sobbed into his chest. I'm so sorry I lied to you. I should have told you from the beginning. Stop, he said firmly. Stop apologizing. He pulled back to look at me, his hands on my face. You survived. You did what you had to do to survive. I'm not angry about that. But I lied. You protected yourself. That's not the same thing. His jaw clenched. I'm angry that you've been carrying this fear alone. I'm angry that this man hurt you. And I'm angry that he thinks he can come into my city and threaten what's mine. His thumb wiped away my tears. But I'm not angry at you, Chioma. Do you understand? I nodded, unable to speak. This Emeka, Min-Jae continued, his voice going cold. He made a mistake coming here. He made a mistake touching you in the first place. And he made a fatal mistake sending me that photo. What are you going to do? I whispered. He kissed my forehead. I'm going to handle it. And you're going to trust me to keep you safe. For the next 2 weeks, Min-Jae had people watching me constantly. Everywhere I went, I had protection. He hired a whole new security team just for me. But Emeka was smart. He didn't approach me directly. He just kept sending messages. Photos. Letting me know he was watching. Min-Jae's people tried to find him, but Emeka stayed in the shadows. He's waiting for something, Min-Jae said one night. He wants something from you. From us. What could he possibly want? I asked. Control. He had it over you once. He wants it back. Min-Jae was right. 3 days later, I got a phone call from a Korean number I didn't recognize. Don't hang up, Chioma. Emeka's voice. That voice that still made my skin crawl. How did you get this number? I have friends everywhere, he said smoothly. Even in Seoul. Even in your husband's organization. My blood ran cold. What do you want? What I've always wanted. You. Come back to me, and I'll disappear. Stay with him, and I'll destroy everything you've built here. I'll expose your fake papers. Get you deported. Maybe get your new husband investigated while I'm at it. You wouldn't. Wouldn't I? Meet me. Tomorrow. Alone. Or I start making calls. He gave me an address. A warehouse in Incheon. Then hung up. I sat there, shaking, the phone still in my hand. I should have told Min-Jae immediately. But Emeka had said he had people inside the organization. What if one of Min-Jae's own men was feeding Emeka information? What if going to Min-Jae would just make things worse? So I made a choice. A stupid, reckless choice. I decided to meet Emeka. To end this myself. I was getting ready to leave when Min-Jae came home early. He took one look at my face and knew. What happened? I tried to lie. But he saw right through me. Chioma. His voice was a warning. What? Happened? So I told him. About the call. About the threat. About the meeting I was planning to go to. His face went through a series of emotions: fury, fear, frustration. You were going to meet him? Alone? While pregnant with my child. I didn't know what else to do. He said he has people in your organization. So you were going to walk into a trap? I was trying to protect you. Protect me? His voice rose for the first time ever with me. Then he stopped, took a breath, controlled himself. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet. Deadly. I am the head of the Biko clan. I have survived assassination attempts, hostile takeovers, and betrayals you can't imagine. I don't need you to protect me, Chioma. He gripped my shoulders. Not hard, but firm. What I need is for you to trust me. Can you do that? I nodded, tears streaming down my face. Good. He pulled out his phone. Because we're going to that meeting. Together. And we're going to end this. The warehouse was exactly where Emeka said it would be. Dark. Isolated. The kind of place where bad things happened. Min-Jae brought 6 of his men. All armed. All loyal. Stay behind me, he ordered as we walked in. No matter what happens. Emeka was waiting in the center of the empty warehouse. Alone. Confident. When he saw me with Min-Jae, his face twisted with rage. I told you to come alone, Chioma. She doesn't take orders from you anymore, Min-Jae said coldly. She takes them from me. Her husband. Emeka laughed. Husband? You think a piece of paper makes you her husband? I know her. I owned her first. Min-Jae moved so fast I barely saw it. One moment he was beside me. The next, he had Emeka by the throat, slammed against a wall. You own nothing, Min-Jae said, his voice like ice. You abused a woman who was too kind to fight back. That's not ownership. That's cowardice. Emeka tried to struggle, but Min-Jae's grip was iron. Here's what's going to happen, Min-Jae continued. You're going to get on the next flight back to Lagos. You're going to forget Chioma exists. And if you ever contact her again, if you even think her name, I will find you. And I will make you wish you'd never been born. He released Emeka, who collapsed to the ground, gasping. You can't threaten me, Emeka started. Min-Jae pulled out his phone and showed him the screen. I already have. I've sent your photo, your information, and a very generous bounty to every organization in Lagos. By the time you land, you'll be a marked man. The only reason you'll stay alive is if you disappear completely. Emeka's face went white as he looked at the screen. You're insane. No, Min-Jae corrected. I'm protective. There's a difference. He turned to his men. Get him to the airport. Put him on the plane. If he resists, break his legs first, then put him on the plane. As they dragged Emeka away, he screamed back at me. This isn't over, Chioma. You're making a mistake. He'll hurt you just like I did. You'll see. Min-Jae stepped in front of me, blocking Emeka from my view. Look at me, he said softly. Not him. Me. I looked up into his eyes. I am nothing like him, Min-Jae said firmly. I will never hurt you. Never control you. Never make you afraid. Do you believe me? Yes, I whispered. I believe you. He pulled me into his arms, and I finally felt safe. Emeka was gone. The secret was out. And I was still standing. Still loved. Still his. 3 months later, our son was born. Min-Jae held him with shaking hands, tears streaming down his face. He's perfect, he whispered. You're perfect. We named him Jae-sun, righteousness and goodness. A hopeful name for a child born into darkness. The clan accepted me after that. Not warmly, perhaps, but with respect. I was the mother of the heir. That gave me power I'd never imagined. Min-Jae kept his promise about my visa. I became a legal resident. Then, eventually, a citizen. I brought my mother to Seoul to meet her grandson. She cried when she held him. You did it, Chioma, she whispered. You saved us. But more than that, I'd saved myself. Today, I live in a world most people will never see. I'm the wife of Seoul's most powerful man. The mother of his heir. I still send money home to my family. But now it's enough to build them a house. To send my siblings to university. To give my mother the life she deserves. Sometimes, late at night when Min-Jae thinks I'm sleeping, I catch him watching our son. There's fear in his eyes. Fear of what this world will do to this innocent child. But there's also love. Fierce, protective, unshakable love. He's teaching me to be strong. To navigate his world without losing myself. And I'm teaching him that strength isn't just power. Sometimes it's vulnerability. It's choosing love even when it's dangerous. People ask me sometimes, don't I regret it? Don't I wish I'd chosen a normal life? And I tell them the truth. No. Because this life, with all its darkness and danger, is mine. I chose it. I fought for it. I was just a maid. An immigrant with nothing. But love, real love, doesn't see what you don't have. It sees who you are. And Min-Jae saw me when I was invisible to everyone else. He saw me. He chose me. He made me his queen. Some love stories are fairy tales. Mine is a war I won. My name is Chioma Park. And this is my story. What would you have done in my position? Would you have run from Emeka that first time? Would you have told Min-Jae the truth earlier? Drop a comment and let me know. I read every single one. And if this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you for listening to my story.